Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Raw Spirit, where we keep it real with the hard truth. And I have a very special guest on today. We have Mr. George Dean, gospel recording artist, songwriter, and as I'm sure he's a producer. He probably got a whole lot of hats, a whole lot of titles I don't know of, but I'm so
Uh,
happy. Mr. George Dean, how are you doing today, sir?
Actually, I'm doing well. For a Sunday morning, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, Saturday morning, I'm doing pretty well, actually. Got up in a little while, drank me a cup of coffee, so I'm ready to roll.
I want you to just get us started. How did you get started in the music industry, just from the beginning and how the gospel four come about.
Well, actually, we started singing from our hometown. Excuse me. Older brother and myself did most of the singing. At that time, being young, 18, 17, I played guitar, and my brother at that time played bass guitar. So we used to write songs together with just him and I, and harmonizing at the same time, et cetera, et cetera. So I wrote most of the songs, and so we started basically from there. Actually, we started from the church because we sung in the choir and male chorus and what have you. We was pretty much the leaders of that as well. So that's kind of like a start for us. But then I came on out of high school and went on into college, and during college is when I met a guy of mine that he and I started the Gospel Four together, uh, and it kind of
What
started
year?
from actually that point. I'm sorry, you was gonna say
Oh, so yeah, what year did y'all start the gospel four?
in 1969,
Hmm.
long time ago, huh?
All right.
Long time. Needless to say, I've aged pretty good since then. But anyway, it kind of started right there. And actually, one of the pictures that you showed earlier with the four guys in black was some of the ones that started in the early gospel four. With the me and the guy that's like on the backside of me is John Whitmore, who he and I started the group together. And the little guy on the left side of me is with the bass singer, and the one on the side of him was the top singer. So those three, and actually my other brother had gone to the service. Actually, he was in the war, who was also with us. But of course, he made it out of the war. But then after that, man got killed with a drunk driver head on. Right after the war, you would think things like that would happen in the war, but I guess wars everywhere. But kind of started right there, and
Hmm.
we kind of rolled on, man, rolled on from there to kind of like where we are today. Just study, build. And of course, I started writing at a young age, and I never stopped writing. So I'm still doing that, not only for myself but for other groups as well. Even so, we went from there to now. Uh, you would think when I first started, I was the youngest one in the group, and you would think that I would be the rest of them would be one that's leading me, and actually I ended up leading them, but manivally because I respected their ages as well. But God is blessed. He always put things in my spirit to write about, and it's first to me before the people. So it has been a blessing to me for sure. And I've had a chance to write for a lot of different people. Um, one of my main guys, of course, Lee Williams, Speech QC. But I did a lot of work with the Memphis Harmonizers here in Memphis. I could just name on and on. Echo Airs, and et cetera. A lot of different groups that I've had a chance to work with, either singing with them or writing for them or producing them, case like that. So I've had a chance to do a lot of things in the industry and meet a lot of people. My idol, of course, was Ira Tucker with Dixie Hummingbirds, because these hummingbirds had a way of singing all kind of ways, and I liked it
Hmm.
that because it wasn't like a one solid thing. they could do this and do that and do this and that. So, hey, that's pretty cool, man, because certain things call for certain situations, which mean that you need to be able to change in those cases. So I liked it that. So I started looking at little different ways to write as well. And so I've gone through that era, man, and I've had some good hits. Wrote a hit for William Brothers, Never Let Go of Your Hand. Wrote hits for Lee Williams, wrote hits for Memphis Harmonize, wrote hits. I'm just keep right on naming, but and wrote hits for myself too as well. Don't want to ever leave me out. But that was the beginning until now.
That is something. So with the gospel for what was your very first recording? So me, unfortunately for me, I first heard of the gospel for is that only we left is up. And I know y'all been saying way before then. You know, when I first heard that album, I said, man, I was hooked, man, from start to finish. It was on point from start to finish from on that particular album that I heard. So when was your very first recording with the gospel four?
Well, see, when we started, you had 45s and LPs, and of course it migrated to CDs. But we first started was with a 45. Uh, I Know I've Been Changed was on one side. He Laid His Hands on Me was on the other side, and that's been way back in the day, man. My first LP was called "Going Home Another Way," so you may not have ever seen any of those 45s or LPs. You might not have even knew who he was until we did the DVDs. That's when we came out. But the only way left is up, and the ready or not, and one more blessing, and so on and so on. But we've done a lot of things well before this.
Oh yes, we talking to Mr. George Dean of the Gospel Ford, Memphis, Tennessee. Um, you know, no. Down through the years, I know Quartet has had a bad name down through the years. And maybe rightfully so, but I know there's some people in the Quartet feel are very sincere about what they're doing. And I listen to other platforms. I listen to different conversations. People throwing the word, competition, entertainment. And, you're thinking it's supposed to be about ministry, but those three they tie those three together: competition, entertainment, ministry. And nowadays some of the artists they are very open about that. They're saying yeah, it's about ministry, but we got to entertain a little bit, give people something to look at. So in your viewpoint, is there any way to really incorporate all three of those things and be effective?
Well, I think first of all it has to be ministry. I think we have to have something very important in our message for the message to reach the peoples. But once the message has reached people, it's all right to shout now. The message needs to go forth, I think, because we as people have always rejoiced. We've always clapped our hands. We've always done those things from the beginning, even from Africa. They always was praising. But when we get through with that, there has to be ministry. I mean, I think the word that comes from a song can bless. Now, listen, if music can charm a snake, it has to be very powerful.
Oh
But
yes.
it also have to express, what it's saying. In other words, when I saw this guy blowing this thing and the snake was just moving, but it was kind of like pleasing to the snake. You know what I'm saying? So you
Mm.
got to have something in your song that says something that's pleasing to people. We need to touch people with words that we say or sing in our song and then we can rejoice. I mean, I have songs that I want to make sure that people understand what's happening and what's going on in the song, because I don't think God gave me a song just for me, but through me to other people, and I use it because I think ministry should be first. I don't deal with the competition. When I was younger and I was gonna try to do something, it didn't work. In fact, I didn't sing well, so I knew that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, and so I had to come back to myself to realize that it's ministry first. I don't deal with competition. I can't sing if I'm trying to be. It just don't work with me. So I just go
Mm-hmm.
with the flow. But I have fast songs, slow songs, medium songs too. Fast songs gonna cause you to move, etc., etc. But to a point where it enhance what you're doing and not be a priority of what you're doing. Because when you get through is still the ministry. That's what it's supposed to be about. Now, when the world ends, singing is gonna still be going on, in heaven. So that makes me know that singing is very, very important, especially when it's a message that touches heart and reaches heart. Like I had a gentleman knock on my door, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 days ago. I have no idea who he was. My wife answered the door and he says, I'm looking for a guy named George Dean. So she came and went to the door and he told me who he was and told me he was incarcerated. He did drugs for 23 years. He got off the drug by listening to the words of my song. Now, those things to me are very, very important because I
Oh, yeah.
think what we do as ministering through the songs, we also should have to show our humility, and that we also act like or look like or try to project Jesus in our lives in the way we walk, talk, and et cetera, et cetera. I think all that play a part in what we do in the singing industry.
All right, that's something right there. That's what it's all about. So the words in your song is touching people like it touched that man right there. That should be our main
Yes,
goal.
sir.
But unfortunately, in this climate, I just sit there and listen to some conversations, like what you just said. It's about ministry first, and I tell you, it must be a different breed nowadays. They saying, yeah, they be saying, no, it ain't no ministry. Yeah, yeah, ain't compete. Yeah, no. Yeah, I said, I just sit back and listen to that. I kind of cringe a little bit. You know, that I believe there are people like yourself who are very sincere about ministering to people. But 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 if somebody hear you say that, say, no, man, man, you got to dump that house, man. You got to really tear it down to get booked. They're more worried about, I guess impression promoters or whatever to get booked. Or whatever they think like that's the bigger picture. When I hear these conversations, but they got to realize, we got to stay before God one of these days. And yo,
Yes, sir.
tell them,
Yes,
man,
sir.
yeah, I don't think that competing and trying to put butts in the seats like that they would say is going to really matter. So we got to I just think we got to keep that in account. Got to think about them things, man. It's just all this go pass away one of these days, and we got to stand before
I
God,
agree.
and we can't be
Yes, sir.
talking about that house. And I just hope people can you know just come to their senses and realize that.
I'm just like Lee Williams, man. We put out the song, but I want to hear him say, "Welcome home." You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
I'm trying to do now. It's not like I'm without fault either. When I talk, I have my trials, my troubles. It's just life. But I try to what I see that I'm not doing what I should, blah blah. Then I try to change it. To make sure that I stay within the will of Him. All have sinned and come short, according to the word. But then the word
yeah,
also say, "What then? Shall we say? could just continue in sin that grace may abound? And the word said, God forbid. So we have to change some things. But I just want to be pleasing to God. I want me to bless other people. And that's my goal.
All righty. And you mentioned Lee Williams, and I tell you, I met Lee Williams briefly when I used to live in Augusta, Georgia, after the Swanee's Quentin anniversary. And I remember, after
Okay.
the tour, I seen Lee Williams came to the front, I guess, to the tables where they were selling their CDs and things, and we just had a line of people just bum rushed him not trying to get his autograph. I didn't want his autograph, and I wanted to just take a picture. So I just sit back and just one thing. Lee Williams, he was just signing everybody's autograph, taking his time, just down home, and then when he was done with that, he saw me. He walked up to me and shook my hand like we known each other for years. And that really means something to me. He just seemed like someone real no down to earth, no matter how successful he was, he just seemed just that brief moment that I met him, he just seemed just so down to earth. So we had a working relationship with him. Could you tell us what was it like working with Lee Williams? Well, how did y'all meet up, and what was it like working with him on and off stage?
Well, what a lot of people probably don't know, in the last 6 or 7 years when Lee was just hot and in the mainstream, see, I knew him probably 30 years before that. We used to sing together different places, Tupelo, Memphis, in my group, his group, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been knowing him a long, long, long time. And he knew me a long, long, long time. And so his character, the way people see it in the big limelight, was the same way when people really didn't know who he was. He was always cool, easygoing, et cetera, et cetera. Nice guy to be around, man. And we used to have fun, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then, my thing is God knows when and what to do when he wanted to be done. Out of all those years that he was singing, now coming to me, I think that I want to go full time, like that. I said, you think so? He said, yeah, I think it's time for me to go full time like that. But what I didn't know was he was gonna be only gonna produce his record, because
Hmm.
he wouldn't tell me that he told him I'll sign if he produced it, and I didn't know nothing about it. But but we friends like that too, because we laughed about it later, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens is the production of George Dean and Lee Williams. I blessed Lee Williams, but Lee Williams blessed me because when folks got to know Lee, they got to know me. Because one day he said, "Now where I go, you go." I didn't understand it at first because he said some stuff that you got to make you think sometimes. But what he was trying
Hmm.
to say, wherever his CD went, my name went. So that made good sense to me too. But you talking about a guy, man, easy to work with. Man, we had fun. You know what I'm saying? It was like we was like brothers. You know, it was just that good of camaraderie between both of us. He would call me sometime. Man, what you doing? I ain't doing nothing. I'm coming through Memphis. Let's eat. It's okay, stuff like that. Blah blah. Or I'm going through Tupelo, et cetera, et cetera, that kind of thing. But I've been knowing him for years. Real years before folks even know who Lee Williams, PhD really was. But the same way people see him is the same way he was before you met him. So good guy, man, good guy. Lord Jesus. Mm,
Yeah, he
mm.
was. Yeah, he was one of a kind. I tell you, he was. Yeah, seemed like in a quartet feel. You know, I guess people at a certain time. I guess what time was like the. Well, I might go out of order with it. It might be Dixie Hummingbirds have their era. Then you have the My Closet Joy, Red Hot. Kansas Spirits was Red Hot. And then you had Lee Williams and Spirits QC. They was Red Hot. I guess I guess they have each group have a time in their era, I guess, but that was,
Well, you're certainly right. You're right because you know when Abraham was on the scene with nobody else there, but somebody else came after Abraham, and then the next one after the next one after next, even from the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, it was somebody else and somebody else and somebody else in the highlight. It's the same way with anything, any genre, especially in the music field, where this group is hot at this time, this group is hot at this time, this group is hot at this time. It's just a matter of fact because there's no more Dixie Hummingbirds, but at one time you couldn't beat them. You know,
mm,
the, it's still a Mighty Clouds, but it's not like Joe Gun. It's still a Slim Train, but it's not like Slim because that particular person is just not there no more. I'm not saying that they still can't sing. Don't get me wrong, but I'm only saying there are certain people that God used in everything that's a group. God always got a person, and it don't have to always be the person that sang lead. It can be a person that run the business or blah blah. But God gonna have somebody in that group. It's just the nature of the beast.
yeah, yeah. And I'm speaking with Mr. George Dean of the Gospel Force, singer, songwriter, producer. And so, so you've written many, many songs for people. Have they, I guess, these songs you've written and albums you produced, or have they have different artists like won like stellar awards for after what you have produced and written for
Yeah, actually, I wrote. William Brothers did a song called "Never Let Go of Your Hand," and I wrote that song, and it was a big song for them and me as well. But the song that I wrote for Lee Williams, he laid his hands on me, won him 5 Stellars,
them?
uh, and uh, and that one was a big record, and a big song actually, and that was my major. But I've been nominated for Stellars 3 times, always made it to the last, but to jump over that hump, I never did. But that's
Yeah,
okay too. Those things keep me humble, you know, to know that
yeah,
I can. So it's all good. Close enough to be there. What can you say, man? It's all good. But sometimes I have to think through my purpose. It Yes, I sing and yes, I write, but sometimes I think my writing may be for other people as well, not that just
right.
necessarily just George. And so I've had a chance to produce a lot of groups and a lot of groups of records. I don't know if you've heard of the Echo Airs, but I produced their record, and they've been
Yeah,
going ever since. Those kind of things. Just got through actually producing another group down in Batesville, Mississippi, which you should be hearing about at some point. Uh, uh, and Sensational Travel is actually their name. And so sometimes I wonder what all God has for me to do. So you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I just look at life at face value, man. Try to live every day, do my best to treat everybody right, stay humble before God, man, and just keep rolling on until my
oh,
time.
yeah. Yeah. So, what inspired your the songs that you write? Is it some experience that you may have, or come just straight from God's and mix them? Yeah, what inspires the songs and the words to the songs that you write?
God let me see things and hear things, and sometimes I see things and just start singing to myself. I hear things and start singing to myself, and then sometimes the melody of what I'm doing, kind of stays with me all the time. I find myself doing the same thing over and over, over and over. Then I figure, hey, okay, I got to do something about that one. And so I think I'm inspired through the Spirit of God because He just showed me stuff, and boom, like that is already like melody and everything. I can take it from there, and then I can add. So I go to the scriptures from there and try to make it make sense with what the Word of God says, and so that it becomes a song that's meaningful and touchable and reachable to people. So hey, it's just amazing. It's just amazing what God does, man. It's just amazing. I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious. I've written songs and cried all at the same time. So I
Mm.
guess it's good that it reaches me first.
Oh, yes, indeed. I tell you that. You know, I was speaking to Mr. George Dean of the Gospel 4, singers, artist, songwriter, producer. Now, you mentioned Mr. Ira Tucker. That's Dixie Hummingbird. That's a group I grew up listening to. Did you get a chance to um, meet Mr. Ira Tucker or be on the same stage with him at all?
Yes, sir. I sung with them in Dixie Hummingbirds in Detroit, Michigan, to be exact. And in fact, in the dressing room, you know, Mr. Tucker and some of the other guys, we all was in the same dressing room, and I got a chance to just talk to him anyway. He was a down to earth guy as well. Because I said, Mr. Tucker, man, I sure want you to sing on a song for me. And he looked at me and said, I'll do it. He said, I'll do it.
Hmm.
But we just didn't get a chance before before you know before he left. So we didn't get a chance to do that. I also Joe Lagon asked me. I wrote a song for him. I still got it. I didn't get a chance to do that one either. And so a lot of people have, and I just kind of put it together and just hold it and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned them hummingbirds. Matter of fact, I just heard some just the other day. I heard someone sent me a clip. I guess a hummingbirds rehearsal. Those guys, they start to they reloading. So they working on that authentic Dixie Hummingbird sound. So yeah, that's a group might want to keep your eyes on there. Like I said, yeah, they reloading right now. So that's a yeah.
Oh
They
yeah,
getting
yeah,
on there.
yeah. With the Sons and all of them getting together, they sounded pretty good. I listened to them not too long ago. It's coming back. It's coming back, and but uh, Dixie Hummingbird had been singing for a lot of years, so that maturity, it makes a difference as well. So you kind of groom yourself from starting, and you get better and you get better and you get better, and it gets easier and easier to do after a while doing the same thing. So, but they got the voices to do, what they're doing. They sound pretty good.
Oh yeah. Not to dwell on the birds, but I was listening, I guess, to the old interview of Mr. James Davis, the founder. And even though I listened to Mr. Tucker was talking about Mr. James Davis, he had some strict guidelines, some strict rules for the group. And I was just wondering, you all have any strict rules in the gospel for? I don't know if it's as strict as what the hummingbirds have, but do you have any like rules and strict regulations in order to keep the group humble and in line?
Well, first of all, we have to be right ourselves. My brother and I, we actually control the group, so we have to be right ourselves. But yeah, we have demands, and they understand that, But we also treat them right, and whatever we say we gonna do, we do it. If we have a problem, we explain it, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't try to hide nothing about that, so that we all can be on the same wavelength. The thing is everybody be happy with being with us. Makes them play and sing better as well. I don't like because you're taking care of you. I can treat you any kind of way. That's out of the box. I think regardless, people have to be treated the way you would want to be treated. So that alone kind of helps my guys stay in place. My thing is to them is when people see you away from the floor, then it'll take effect when we are on the floor if you're in the wrong place doing the wrong thing. So be manable all the time. No cursing, none of that blah blah. No smoking. We don't play that. Blah blah. Blah, all that kind of stuff. And cigarettes may be all right in its place. But beyond that, no, 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 none of that. So it seems like our camaraderie works real well with how we handle ours, but we do have demands. Yeah, my brother takes care of that stuff.
All right. All right. Speaking to
My
Mr.
brother's hand is
George.
like two gloves. So
Oh, yeah, I tell you. Um, okay, when you go to programs, you know, I'm sure it happened to you guys like it does others. So you go to a program and the promoter, they don't have all the funds like whatever the price was agreed on. They don't have all the funds, or I hear stories of the promoters just skipping out, with the money without paying the artist. So you go to a program and I guess all the funds are not there, or the promoter done skipped out with the money, or just don't pay you at all. How do George Dean and the Gospel Four handle that kind of a situation?
well, we haven't really had a situation like that for a long, long time. But what I don't do or didn't do some years ago is act crazy myself.
Right.
Because people are watching and they see you. So if you go to hollering, fussing, and cussing, they don't know what's going on. All they know is I hear you fussing and cussing, blah blah blah. So that's a damper on your group. I always, in that case, try to get the person by themselves if they're still there. If they're gone, it ain't too much I can do. But the thing is, a promoter or a person that's booking you, blah blah blah, does that deliberately. If they steal 10 from me, they'll lose 50,000. Cause God
Mm,
ain't gonna let you just get away with it. It just don't work. Just because you feel like I got this, I got them. But you don't have us. We all belong to God. He's not gonna just let you get by with that, especially if I'm trying to do it honestly in the right
mm,
way, and then you deliberately take it from me. You'll never get away. You'll suffer some kind of way. It just won't work. It just don't work. If I do you wrong, bro Robinson, you know, then it comes back to me, not you. But
right.
some kind of way it's gonna come back to me. God just won't let it go. He won't let it go like that. So, but I haven't really had that kind of problem. I've had some people that have got in a situation where they didn't have all, but they'll say, "Look, I'll do this, blah blah blah," and they did. So we said, "Well, if I can take care of my men's, I'm good at that point." But I don't want to think people they just run over me or nothing like that. But it's still
Right.
ministry, and man, it's ministry. So we're worthy of a higher, and the Bible speaks of that as well. So I'm just saying, I try not to where we don't, as far as how we act in situations like that. We got to remember that there's people around us that don't know really what's going on. So you still got to be careful what you do, what you say, and how you do
Yes, sir. Yes, that's good. That's good to handle. Yeah, you can. I don't. I don't heard stories where people don't. Well, I'll tell you this story. Well, he done said it. I know this one is. I guess he was playing for his mother, and I guess the promoter didn't have all that money. So I guess him and maybe two of his brothers, they trapped that guy in the bathroom. Yeah, no, supposedly that's what the promoter was saying. No, they didn't have the money, but they were doing a head count where they was, and said, no, no, the money here. So long story short, I guess they shook up that promoter. I guess he got scared or whatever. He coughed up the money, but it's a shame they had to go to that kind of a extreme. You know, like you said, it's one thing if they fell short. You know, no, not no like example that you gave. No, they do this for you and make it up some kind of way, that's fine. But but to have to have it and not cough it up on what you and but there's a contract involved or whatever, however y'all do it, that's that's
Mhm.
that's shady business there. I tell you, but like you said, it'll come back on you. So it's best to let you.
That's the thing. Now I don't get into other people's business, but that's the thing. If you mistreat a person, you will not get away. You may think you're doing well when it happened, but down the road it comes back. If it didn't come back, then God wouldn't be right because he said he's just not gonna let that get away. It's just that's just the way it is. But but we're worthy of our hire. But most of all, man, I come to really just sing, give God what He gives me, and hope that one person be blessed during the process. And usually I'll have somebody come to say, "I really enjoyed you. You blessed me." All those things play a part as far as I'm concerned. I had a little kid come up to me at a program and says, "Mr. Dean, you saved my life." I said, "Save your life? I don't even know you." Yeah, but the music, your song, really saved my life. Right? Those things there, because those people say those things, it's like God speaking back to me to say, "What I've given you, this is why. So do sing what I give you to sing. Do what I want you to do, and this is why. Because even though you're talking to one, and you might not talk to one more some other time, one more time. God, heaven rejoice when one comes. So hey, that's just like a million.
Oh yeah. And what piece of advice would you give for people maybe not just in quartet or whatever? What if they want to make a living in the music industry? What advice would you give them to make it out here in this field?
Well, I'm not sure if I could give them direct advice. My reason is I worked a job for 38 years, and so I'm retired for that's concerned, but I'm still singing. But what happened with me was during those 38 years, the Lord blessed me where I could still go. My boss was pleased. As long as I tell him I'm going, I'm coming back. I didn't have no problem. I could go anytime, unless there's a direct emergency or a situation that has to be there. Other than that, I was blessed to be able to go and come and still sing. So as far as me telling them to go out full force, I would just have to say, make sure you listen to what the Spirit has to say unto you, and make sure you got what you need to qualify for you to be or to go, because that's going to be your living. Like A. Lee Williams say, "Yeah, I think it's time for me to go full time." But you got to know that. You got to know that because every program may not pay you.
Oh
So
yeah.
at the same point, when you get as old as I am, I'm pushing 75. You get as old as I am, you got to make sure you got something to live off as well. Because at that point, you get to the point where you ain't gonna want to sing, or ain't gonna feel like, or can't sing, or maybe your voice not there, blah 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 blah. So you got to still have something to live off.
All right. That's some good points. And okay, and coming up, another group I grew up listening to like the Pilgrim Jubilees. I know they had a book that they put out some years ago. And I was just reading through that book, and the late Clay Graham, I guess he was, I guess like in that era, the Jews they was real hot at that time, and there was, I, I, I guess in that era, there was some groups that he wrote in the book that there was some groups that didn't want to, I guess, didn't want to work with them for for whatever reason. Yeah, 'cause I know the Jews they had a very hard driving style, and Clay called the groups out by name in the book. That there was several major groups They said they didn't really want to, be on the same program with them guys. But I just wanted, I did the gospel for, not without put on names or anything like that. Did y'all feel a vibe where y'all on a program with groups that, didn't too much care to be on the same program with you guys and maybe out of jealousy or whatever? Or was it more of a just camaraderie? Just everybody just, you know, came together and just, sung their songs and did their thing.
Kind of fading out on me.
Oh, so have it ever been a time when the gospel four been on the program or they have y'all ever sensed where okay the gospel four here I don't want to I don't want to have too much dealing with them or whatever or as a whole everybody just came together and just did their own thing or in other words have you ever sensed where other groups had a issue with the gospel four where they didn't want to really be on the same program with you guys or anything like it was back in the golden era.
No, actually, I've never had that problem, and if it was a problem, it never did get to me. But as far as because I'm the same way all the time. But as far as groups saying it to me or me hearing it, I don't remember ever having that problem. Most of the time, it's probably if that happens, it's from them to the promoter, and I may not never hear it. You know, in that case, so it could be a situation where it may have happened, and I don't know. But as far as me knowing, no, I haven't. I haven't done that because I try to be the same all the time. I try to greet other groups as well, uh, uh, younger groups and older groups. So I try to stay in a position where all can talk to me. You know, so that's what I'm saying. I'm usually pretty quiet, laughter, what have you. But I don't remember ever having that kind of situation.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's yeah, good. That's good to hear. I know I know for a fact that has happened to other artists. Know firsthand, but just no, it's good that y'all are able to come together and just have the same goal in mind. Yeah. So man, I tell
Mm.
you, I appreciate you, taking the time out to come and do this interview and I guess for final words, do yeah, I want to give you the final words and what y'all have what do you y'all have a new project coming out the gospel for or something
Well,
that y'all
actually, we're starting to work on a new project this month, to be
oh,
exact, because I take less programs January and February because you just never know the weather, what have you. And then I'd be looking at March as well because you never know. But so now we're working on a new project. Hopefully, we can get it together and release it around March or April, maybe a little later, just depending on how much I see, what I want to change, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's the what we're planning. That's the plan to go ahead and get started on it. In fact, next week.
okay
So
that's
be looking.
oh yeah. If they want to, if anybody want to gospel for, how can they go by booking the gospel for?
Well, they can go to my web page is uh Dean space George G4 G4 or you can call me at 901-596-4763. In fact, that's the number that you have. Again, 901-596-4763. You can reach me personally if you like, or I can give you to a person that'll book you, but I can do it myself. You can reach me, George Dean, 901-596-4763. And I appreciate you, Brother Robinson, for the opportunity to come and speak to other listeners along with you. Thank you much.
All right, appreciate you coming on. And right here, we'll give you no final word, anything you want to say before we get on out of here. The floor is yours.
No, I probably have already said it, but I thank you again for the invitation to come and bless all of those that are here and see us. And may God bless everybody. And we'll be glad to come to your area and sing. And all you have to do is call that number. We appreciate it very much. And thank you again, sir, for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, yes, sir, you got it. And that's Mr. George Dean of the Gospel Four. And I hope I thank you all for tuning in, however you listen, wherever you listening from. I hope y'all got something out of it. And if you want to book them, he gave y'all the number. So, well, thanks to Mr. George Dean for the interview, taking the time out of his schedule to be interviewed. And until next time, God bless you all. You all have a good one. Till next time.